This video is sponsored by Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. What's up guys, this is Coach Donny from Elevate Yourself, where we change lives through volleyball, training, and inspirational content. Welcome to my Volleyball Coach Reaction, Round 2, Season 1, Episode 4. On the surface, it might seem like I wouldn't have a lot to talk about watching this whole anime again, but after seeing how much depth all of you guys have communicated through the comments and teaching me about Haikyuu and Japanese culture, I knew there was going to be tons of details to unravel and appreciate. And like I said before, it's just so refreshing to be able to focus on those details and not worry so much about learning the characters and the general story. This is a great suggestion. I will now start watching the end scene previews because some of you guys said they're pretty funny, and now that I've seen all 4 seasons, they're not going to be considered spoilers. One thing I would appreciate from you guys, if you can continue to add those reminders for when to watch some bonus scenes at the end, and also the additional OVA episodes so I don't miss anything this second time around. Now let's get this Haikyuu party started. Yeah, I remember seeing this quote. The player is not a soloist but a member of an orchestra. When the player begins to think I'm special, that player is finished. I'm curious what type of word is used for finished. Finished as in dead, maybe no longer relevant or no longer able to help the team, because you know sometimes these words get lost in translation. And of course this quote is from one of the greatest legendary coaches of all time, Coach Rezende, who was the former Brazilian men's national team coach, and he also coached the women's team, and I believe now he's coaching the men's French national team. So just a new challenge for him, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do with that team. I don't know if I've shared the story before about Bruno Rezende. Sorry, not Bruno Rezende. That's his son, who is the starting setter for the men's national team, Bernardo Rezende. The Brazilian men's national team won the gold medal pretty handily after beating Italy in the gold medal match in 2004. And for the next 4 years, they were still considered one of the best teams in the world. They also had one of the best setters in the world named Ricardo. I highly recommend watching his highlight videos because he is one of the most creative, athletic, and deceptive setters. I remember watching Brazil, and I think somewhere around like 2007, 2008, I no longer saw Ricardo competing with the team, and I was trying to research information on what was going on, and at that time, the internet was still available, but there wasn't a lot of opportunities to find out inside information like that. But we eventually found out that Ricardo was removed or essentially kicked off the team. Rumor had it that after they won a tournament, they get the prize money, probably like $1 million. And I think they usually split the prize money evenly among all the players. But I think Ricardo wanted to get a bigger cut because he felt like he was a more important part of the team, kind of like the team MVP. And at that time, Coach Rezende wasn't having any of that. I don't know if they took a vote, but they ended up removing him from the team. And what's so special about this quote is he doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the talk. Brazil still did really well with their second setter, Marcelinho, in 2007, and then they were still considered the #1 team in the world leading up to 2008, where eventually in the gold medal match, Brazil plays US and USA men's wins the gold. But I think a lot of people wonder what might have happened if Ricardo was still setting. Not to take away anything from that USA team because they were definitely the best team in the world at that tournament. But if you think about how much risk Coach Rezende took in removing Ricardo from the team, knowing that it could affect their peak ability to be back-to-back Olympic gold medal champions. To me, that is a true coach of character, and you don't see that type of commitment to principles that often at that level. Usually at the professional level, coaches are actually doing the opposite. They're more willing to cut corners just to win the next game. So I thought I'd share that story with you guys because now that I've read this quote a second time around, that's a living example of this quote here. Of course, with that dramatic music. I think we're having flashbacks again of where Kageyama sits with nobody. One thing that's interesting in these flashbacks, you notice that they're not showing the eyes, kind of like a dream. It's kind of like a zombie movie where everyone just turns back and looks at you. What is every great competitor's fear? Is not having a team to win with. Oh, this is their chance to finally get to scrimmage. I completely forgot what happens as a result of this, so this will be fun to rewatch again. Tsuki is so polite to the upperclassmen, but still indirectly rude. Oh, calls him out right away, says you got character problems. Nah. The flame of... Yes. I remember commenting earlier calling this the Akuma flame, but the black smoke coming from the body is still one of my favorite effects in anime. And the obligatory sticking the tongue out. I think this is the episode where we get to see Tanaka take his shirt off. Yes! My favorite scene. Come on, we gotta watch that again. I will do that on the court one day, I promise. It's just gotta be the right timing where I know I won't get kicked out of the game. Oh, he actually sets him on that first one. Everyone's blown away. Does he block him straight down? So how does Tsuki block Hinata so easily? We eventually learn that Tsuki is actually a very thoughtful blocker, but in this instance, the reason why Hinata gets blocked all the time up until this point, there's two reasons. The first one is he's giving away where he's going to swing, and that's where most blockers should be lining up. You want to identify the path of their approach because that's where all the power comes from, is their hitting approach. Get in line with it and just press straight over. Now, even if you don't block the hitter, at the minimum, you take away their hardest hit because that's where all the momentum is going, and you force them to hit around you. Here, Tsuki doesn't have to do anything because he's lined up in line with that approach, puts his hands over, and Hinata essentially blocks himself.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
So one tip I always like to tell my hitters that I coach is try not to hit where you're facing. That's a great way to hit around the block, but also to be deceptive. I just love that flowy hair as they're floating down. You gotta appreciate Tsuki's ability to get under people's skin. It's kind of like Draymond Green from the Warriors, always yapping in people's ears. You also gotta appreciate how Tsuki knows everyone's individual personality and knows how to get into their skin, under their skin. Domai. Finally get to see Kageyama's powerful jump serve in action. Oh, but serving the wrong person. You can't serve at Daichi. Damn, who was that setting? Was that Tsuki's setting? Dude, do we not appreciate here that you have Tsuki setting Yamaguchi a quick attack? That's really hard to do, man. Tsuki is a solid player. Yeah, you gotta serve Yamaguchi.
突出した才能はなくても2年分お前らより長く体にすり込んできたレシーブだ簡単に崩せると思うのよ
かっこいい
That is some confidence.
そろそろ本気出した方がいいんじゃない
あなんなんだお前この間から突っかかりやがって王様のトスってなんだ
君こいつがなんで王様って
Oh, that's right. Hinata doesn't know the story,
こいつ
the
は
backstory.
うまいから他の学校のやつらがビビってそう呼んだとかじゃないの
そう思ってるやつも結構いると思うけどねでも噂じゃ
You know what's really ironic? King of the Court means something so different in the USA. That's actually one of the most popular games we play during practice, where the winner of the scrimmage, you know, when you have a lot of people at an open gym or at volleyball practice, and let's say you have 20 people there, you're going to play 3-on-3, and the winner stays on and the losers come off after every point, or maybe after 3 or 4 points. And we call that drill the King of the Court. And then the person who wins the most number of points, meaning the person that stayed on the court the longest to earn those points, is usually crowned the King of the Court. So for the longest time, I thought that's what they were referring to, and I was wondering why they had such a negative connotation to the word King of the Court.
北川第一のやつらがつけたらしいじゃん王様のチームメイトがさ意味は自己中の王様
The egocentric, oh, the oppressive dictator. That I just still think it's so ironic that Kageyama gets so mad at being called that, but it's very obvious he acts that way. But maybe he's more embarrassed that he got benched than actually being called that. Yeah, you can only yell at a teammate so much before they stop listening. But now you appreciate Hinata can hit those. Oh, he's so fixated on wanting to play at nationals, taking out his competitiveness on other people. But he does pause and actually reflect on what he's actually saying or how he's treating his teammates. And sometimes you just gotta learn the hard way. Either get subbed out or get shunned by your teammates. Yeah, I love that image. I know I said this the first time around, but seeing that fissure, that crack in the floor. Now that's a good coach. Speaking about good coaching, that's a good coach to be able to bench a star player like that because of his attitude. And maybe Daichi is just letting this play out. And he admits it in the open. But Hinata comes back always with a positive spin. This is definitely a consistent pattern you see with Hinata throughout all 4 seasons. Right when things start to get down, who inserts himself in that special moment where people just need an encouraging word or just something positive? It's always Hinata. Remember that time in season 4 where the rally's going faster and faster, everyone's getting more tense, and then Hinata inserts himself and says everyone needs to just slow down and relax. I think what's great about the character development for Haikyu is that these characters are very consistent with their habits. And it's a perfect pairing between Kageyama and Hinata. Even Tsuki appreciates that quality about Hinata.
大間違いなんだよ。
That's right, Tsuki, the realist.
任せろ田中さん。俺に
どっちにあげる。日向はまだ真っ向勝負で月島に勝てない。
Is this where Hinata almost hits it and then out? He's already up.
そこに誰も。
Hit us all! He does. Almost gets it, yes.
あぶねえ。空振りとこだった。アウトだけど。
So there we see the contrast between Kageyama worrying, am I ever going to play with anybody who even wants to hit my sets? And then he meets Hinata, who will hit anything and never complain about any type of set he gets. That's why they are a match made in heaven.
中学のことなんか知らねえ。俺にとってはどんなトスだってありがたいトスなんだ。俺はどこにだって飛ぶ。どんなボールだって打つ。だから
You definitely appreciate how much more complementary their personalities are. Now it's time for the snack time halftime. We just got these brand new snacks coming in straight from Japan.
ジャパン
From two of my favorite snack companies, Sakurako and Tokyo Treat, which are monthly subscription services where you can receive authentic Japanese snacks every month delivered straight to your door. The Sakurako theme for this month is Tea Time in Yokohama. Sakurako is partnering with the Kanagawa government and local snack makers to introduce traditional Yokohama delights in the special Yokohama box design. Let's choose a snack from Sakurako, which is a more traditional variety of snacks. First one, I see a peanut on there. Looks very crunchy. You know, we like sound effects. Oh, very, very, very peanutty. First, let's show you. It looks like up close. A little glossy sugar on there. You would think it would taste like peanut butter, like the American style, but no, it's got a really organic peanut flavor with sugar, which is a totally different experience than like the creamy, rich peanut butter we have in the States. Second one we're gonna try is the bun. It's got some black lines in there, not sure what that is, but a lot of these buns I've been eating with some green tea. I even dip it inside the tea, and it's really yummy. That's how they keep it fresh. Can't really hear the crunch here, but all the breads are so fluffy and soft, but also firm in the center, so you get a nice chew to it, like it's been freshly baked, even though it's been probably shipping overseas for a week. Let's try some snacks from a more modern selection from Tokyo Treat. This is so interesting. We got lemon. Looks like some chips. Lemon chips? Almost like a shrimp chip texture. It is seafood, but with lemon. Wow. That's a perfect combination. I love raw oysters. I'm not saying this tastes like raw oysters, but any type of seafood goes so well with lemon, whether you're eating octopus, fish, oysters. This is a very, very nice flavor. Second snack looks like an apple pie. Yeah, it says apple pie right there. I was so busy trying to decipher the Japanese that I didn't see any of the English. Ooh, smell it. Definitely a little different take on apple pie. More like an apple jelly with their usual soft bread that they bake. This will taste really good with some milk. If you want to try your own authentic Japanese snacks every month, you can use my discount code and link in the description box to get $5 off your first order from Sakurako and Tokyo Treat. Plus, it's a great way to support my channel since they are one of my affiliate partners. And next time, you can enjoy your Japanese snacks along with me as we watch Haikyu together. Dun, 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 dun. I'm definitely gonna finish this bag of seafood lemon chips. These are so good. Don't worry, I'm not gonna eat these the whole show, but I'll definitely finish them after.
おいお前らクイック使えんのか
クイック
今みたい
俺ポーンって山なりに上がるトスしか打ったことないです
でも今やったろそれにお前中学の時素人セッターのミスったトス打ったろ
Sometimes we don't know what a good set is. You just go for everything. Alright, I gotta sneak a couple more chips in before I tell my story here. The story I want to share is from high school. Now, our volleyball team wasn't that good, and we had a lot of people that played volleyball for the first time. Now, our setter at the time, his name was Tim. He was really athletic in terms of a very good soccer player, and I think he played some table tennis, so he was really fast on his feet. But unfortunately, his hands weren't that consistent, and that's not his fault. Like for me, my passing wasn't very consistent when I was younger. We just didn't have a lot of experience or the best technique. And so he was my main setter setting. And I remember as a hitter, the ball was kind of all over the place. He always got his feet to the ball, but the set might be low, high, off, and close to the net. And I remember thinking that every time I couldn't hit, I always blamed it on myself. Not because I was trying to be some super teammate, but I thought that setting was that difficult that I just had to be extra ready to hit anything. And it wasn't until I played in college that I realized that actually setting is supposed to be really consistent. But I'm grateful for that foundation because kind of like Hinata here, when you don't know any better, you just accept what's going on and you adapt to the situation. And I think too often times we want things to be perfect for us when in reality we have to find ways to adapt and make ourselves better for our teammates and to make a better situation for ourselves.
でも俺どんなトスでも打ちますよ。打つからな。
合わせたこともないのに速攻なんて無理だろ。
今無理って言った。こいつ無理って単語知ってんのか。なんだお前変。そんな弱気なの気持ち悪い。変。
This is where we get to see their bond start to form. And we get to see Hinata's determination really start to come to fruition. Damn, he's just putting him down straight up. And I like that Daichi's just letting them hash it out. Gotta let people deal with their own conflicts. This is where we get to see Hinata's inspiration. The little giant. This is so important for all of us to learn from, to find somebody who looks like us, who acts like us, or just represents who you are at a high level. Whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in school, you need to find that role model that is your ethnicity, your gender, your height, whatever it might be, because sometimes when someone succeeds but maybe is taller or shorter or prettier or whatever different thing than you, it's easy to just write that off and just say, oh, they accomplished that because they're taller than me or something like that. But the fact that Hinata got exposed to the little giant is the main reason why he thought, well, you know what? It is possible for me to play at a high level at my height. So I want to challenge you to find your role model that represents you and where you want to be in 10 years. Kate, kate. I'm trying to practice my anime Japanese. They had the same desire, just different reasons. All this doubt just fires him up. And Kageyama senses something in him. Now they stand toe to toe as allies. If you can't spike it, avoid it. This is the warm-up that we're going to see for the entire season. And then this stretch here, the Haikyuu warm-up. Circle the shoulder, stretch the shoulder. Don't do anything else to get ready. Good setters will find their hitters. Auntie Yoshida's. That's funny.
おい、何してる。もっとは。
出た王様の
Oh, this is where you really get to appreciate Kageyama's character. He can have his king moments, but the fact that he already caught himself, he knows inside that that wasn't the best thing to do, or he can't be like that type of player. So he's already self-improving, and that's really, really important to understand, not just as a player, but as a person. Oftentimes, when we keep making the same mistakes over and over again, that tends to happen when we lack self-awareness and we blame other factors, like I'm on the wrong team or the coach didn't like me. But if the same thing keeps happening to you, there's only one consistent factor, and that's you. And Kageyama has the self-awareness to realize that, you know, maybe there is something inside of me that needs to change, and no one is keeping him accountable to do that except for himself. And that's his indirect way of encouraging him, trying to get right his first time. I remember, I love that scene. Getting caught in the net.
全然タイミングわかんねえよ。
お前、反応早いんだからもっとこうバッと来いよ。バッと。
I remember his sound effects about how to do something.
そんじゃ中学の時と同じだよ。
Ooh, getting called out by the upperclassmen.
日向には反射もスピードもついでにバネもある。慣れれば速い攻撃だって。
日向のそのすばしっこさっていう武器、お前のトスが殺しちゃってるんじゃないの？
Your tossing skill is killing it. I don't understand that part.
菅原さん。
中学でお前にギリギリ合わせてくれた優秀なプレイヤーとは違う。
Here we get to see Suga's character unfold, that he is the empathetic player. He is teaching Kageyama how to be empathetic by understanding somebody's differences and appreciating that about them. Instead of always expecting people to be on your level, how can we help move and accommodate to their level?
お前にギリギリ合わせてくれた優秀なプレイヤーとは違う。でも素材はピカイチ。
え、そんな天才とか大げさで。
It goes from speaking truth, semi putting him down, to saying he's got unlimited potential.
っていうか、才能っていうか、そういうのをもっとこう、菅さんファイト。なんかうまいこと使ってやれんじゃないの？俺、お前と同じセッターだから、去年の試合、お前見てビビったよ。ずば抜けたセンスとボールコントロール。
Ball control.
敵ブロックの動きを冷静に見極める目と判断力。俺には全部ないもんだ。
That's a sad thing when you see somebody that's better than you and you realize that you don't have any of those qualities that make them better than you. But there's two ways you can go about that. You can either train those weaknesses even more, or accept the differences and find other ways to contribute. And here, Suga's contributing by being more of a leader and a consistent player on the court, as we see later how effective of a substitute he is and how much of a game changer he can be coming in late into the game.
全部ないもんだ。
そんなことないっすよ。田中、一回聞いてくれ。
技術があって
I love Tanaka, man. He's just the defender of everyone.
何より周りを見る優れた目を持っているお前に仲間のことが見えないはずがない。
Challenging him, saying, "You're talented. Why don't you be better for him?"
なんかうまいことってなんだ。
でもちゃんとボール来た。
Hinata's like so jittery, afraid of his any movement.
神経が羨ましい。はあ？だから宝の持ち腐れのお前が腹立たしい。はあ？それならお前の能力、俺が全部使ってみせる。なんだ？
That's a truthful statement for Kageyama to admit that he envies Hinata's athletic ability. Ooh, we got that bass music coming on. Time to get serious.
俺が持っていく。
So finally, Kageyama realizes, I'm gonna set the ball for you, not at you.
ブロックのいないとこにマックスの速さと高さで飛ぶ。そんで全力スイングだ。俺のトスは見なくていい。ボールには合わせなくていい。
はあ？ボール見なきゃ空振りじゃん。
I think this is where he spikes with his eyes closed.
やってみたい。
Another thing you gotta give credit to Kageyama for, he's not afraid to try things.
王様の自己中トスなんて誰も打てないってば。
だよね。
何するつもりだ。少なくともあのトスじゃ今の日向が合わせるのは無理だぞ。
ナイスだ。一本。
And even though the fate of their participation of the team depends on this game, they're still willing to experiment and find a way to work together. Oh, this is such a cool scene. You get to see how much he's processing. Oh, we gotta see that for the first time. Such a cool scene. We gotta watch that again. This really gives you a great insight into what a setter has to process. Spike. So he has to watch. Man, that was such a cool animation where they zoom in on Kageyama and his body spinning, and then you see Hinata in the eye. Can we just appreciate that? You zoom in, rotate, and you see Hinata's reflection in the eye. Boom! And his first kill. Once you taste that sweet nectar, you get addicted. That's right. His eyes were closed. He just trusted it. That requires incredible focus and accuracy from that set. Even Suki is speechless. Yeah, he did follow his instructions. That's all that Kageyama wants is a setter, a hitter just to trust him, right? It's so cool to see their bond beginning, more appreciation beginning to form. I think now he's gonna start using Hinata as a decoy to set up Tanaka. Such cool words, just trust me and jump. Oh, and Kageyama apologizes, makes his first apology because he knows it's all on him now. This is the power of leadership. If Suga never inserted himself and gave Kageyama a different perspective, that's all he did to Kageyama. Give him a different perspective. Instead of looking down at people, look around them. View them as your equal because they're your teammates, and how can I be better for my teammate? And now Kageyama's fixated on how can I give Hinata that perfect set. If Hinata messes up, then that means it's my fault. And I think that's just such a great teammate quality to have, all thanks to Suga's perspective. And now Kageyama said this is fun. Maybe fun because he hit him in the face. Interesting that they don't even like each other, but Hinata... Actually, they kind of both trust each other 100%. You get addicted to that touch. You guys hear that sound effects? It sounds like someone's like squeezing leather. Moikai. Moikai. The famous words, Moikai. So many seeds planted in this episode for future intense moments. Backset to Tanaka. Draw on the double block. Oh, changing the path without even telling Kageyama. Now I know what he means by avoid it. Not just hit around and just go run somewhere else. Beautiful set. The first beautiful analogy I saw with the blocking hands. Oh, he finally appears and gets to see. Beautiful imagery. Even Kageyama is surprised by what he's done. And he gets another red mark on the hand. Just a little teaser of the next bonus Haikyuu video I'm going to do is trying out Hinata's moves. If you guys remember from the last video I did of Nishinoya's techniques, that was super fun. And Camilo's down to do another one. So I'm going to try out Hinata's moves, and this is one of them I'm going to try out. Where I'm running full speed from the right front and then just going along the net and then spiking a shoot. That's going to be hard to do because I definitely don't jump as high or move as fast as Hinata. Running straight. Turning direction. By the way, we talked about how this is too many steps. You can cover the sideline in 4 or 5 steps. So this part's a little unrealistic. But he's drifting. And one thing I wanted to watch again was the sweat coming off of Kageyama's brow. Did he just hit another ball with his eyes closed again? This is such a great animation. You see everything still about Kageyama's face, but the sweater and the hair flowing. And then we have the sweat drops floating up because Kageyama's coming down. And as the sweat drops are moving up, they're glistening. Like, that's a whole separate animation here. Look at that. And the sweat drops are like expanding and contracting. And I love the ball rolling. They did such a good job on this animation here. Great feel. Look at that ball rolling beautifully. Yes! Oi, oi, oi. The first time Hinata gets hit in the face. One of my favorite things about watching this episode again is seeing the initial seeds planted for how great the bond will be between Kageyama and Hinata. They're fighting so much in the last episode at each other's throats, almost became arch enemies, and now being forced to play together, they're starting to appreciate each other's strengths and how well they complement each other. And trust. I actually would have renamed this episode Trust, because that's what Kageyama did for Hinata. He was just going to trust that Hinata's going to be there, and Hinata just completely trusted that Kageyama is going to give him a killer set. So I think that would have been a better theme for this episode. Don't forget to check out the Sakurako and Tokyo Treat snacks. I'm going to eat a couple more here. Enjoy some of this apple pie bread. Discount code and link in the description box. It's also a great way to help support Elevate Yourself and allows me to make more of these cool videos for you guys. Make sure you watch my reaction videos to all 4 seasons when I watched Haikyuu the first time around in this playlist right here. And you can watch my round 2 reactions right here.